And we're live. Here we go.
Number 12.
Episode 12, baby.
Tyler.
You guys did it. I didn't think you'd make it past 3. So
I didn't either, honestly.
I think it shocked a lot of people.
do you want to explain the face covering?
Yeah, so we're just being, so we decided to be healthy. We're following CDC guidelines, and they're mandating masks for vaccinated and unvaccinated people in a environment that is a closed setting. So I think we are wearing masks to make sure that we aren't passing the virus from one of us to the other.
slow the spread. 15 days.
Yeah, so we're mandating the mask. So we're being safe, CDC, because everything you've said has been awesome, and we fully trust you. So this is our masks that we're wearing due to your mandate.
I mean, if anybody's going to beat COVID, it's going to be Batman.
I mean, I think he would.
Do you think Batman could get infected by COVID?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think he would have something made that he would not get infected.
Do you think he's immune to...
I think he would be.
COVID?
I think Batman would be immune to COVID.
He would develop a serum.
He would develop
Some type of serum. A vaccine. if
A
you will.
vaccine.
Yeah.
Yep.
He probably already has.
Yeah, and so so I
Selfish.
think this is the most strongest protection against COVID is the Batman mask.
Why don't you got to look in the camera and show the
So-
fans what we got here.
So this is what we're working with. Nate is not here right now. Batman is filling in for Nate.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right.
And that's where we draw the line.
All right.
All
Let's
right.
go ahead and pop
All
these
right.
off, huh?
We're all sweating bullets right
gosh,
now.
it's so hot.
I think that is why we shouldn't have to wear masks in the first place. It's just too damn hot.
It's
You can't breathe.
in the middle of a Florida summer.
Oh, shoot. Hat on, too.
Oh, you were double masking it.
Golly.
Obviously, masks aren't effective against COVID because it gets trapped in your freaking mask in your face. It just sits there.
What if you were giving yourself COVID by breathing?
That's
in?
what I'm saying.
Like, say you had COVID, you breathed it on. Is that right? Breathe
No.
it on? Is that not the proper term?
No, I'm not sure.
So you push the particles onto your mask. You then get off of COVID, and then you put the mask back on because it's on.
I
the
don't
mask.
think anybody really understands what's happening right now. So it's just shots in the dark at this point.
I mean,
Dude, your nose is looking a little...
That mask was
That
really,
was a little
hot.
really form fitting.
That was a little tight. Huh?
Man.
That's not hot. That's not from
Jesus.
heat.
Maybe
That's
got a
from
fat face.
Just
My
straight up
goodness.
friction
Well,
on your face.
yeah, I tried to get the biggest one, and I guess it wasn't.
All
It
right.
was this one. So here we go.
Big head.
Well,
Something.
that's not a lot's in there, but at least room to grow. So
Well,
so here we go.
You are in your mid-30s, so if it's going to grow, you better...
I officially moved to the late 30s. I think once you get past 35,
Yeah.
you have now become into the late 30s.
Welcome to the club.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still kicking.
I'm
Yeah.
in my mid-20s.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
pretty
Imagine.
fun.
It gets a whole lot worse.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it does.
Yeah.
No,
it's awful.
it is what you make it. It is what you make. Be positive for this young man.
Well,
you know?
when your body starts breaking down and you're
And you're living with
I don't
your
want to get into much
sister.
well, like
personal
every
things
every
erectile
morning.
dysfunction.
Every morning. Every morning I wake
I'm not
up.
saying it's not me personally, but I know a guy or a couple
Yeah.
I
guys.
wake
sure you
up
do.
and it's like making cereal in the morning with
You're
Rice
getting
Krispie
those.
treats.
You're not going to the gas station to get gas. You're getting those gas station boner pills.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting those bumblebees, and they call
man.
them bumblebees.
Boners.
Those,
two
rhino-
two bees for boner.
Yeah,
the
there we go.
that's
the
right.
rhino pills.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
yeah.
I had to go to the hospital. Had a boner for 4 days.
That's scary.
Yeah, my wife wasn't even home. That was just me, just
Just walking
testing.
around.
Just testing it out.
I was just in the bathroom, just seeing what would happen.
Neighbor's like, "What are you saluting over there?" Tyler's like, "I'm just saluting my shorts. I'm good to go."
All right, all right.
Yeah, every morning I wake up and it's like I have a
That's
bowl of Rice Krispies in front of me and I'm just pouring milk and it's snapping and crackling and popping. That's how I feel when I move every morning. I'm just cracking everywhere. I'm
You
like,
feel
this-
like a bowl of Rice Krispies,
I
huh?
do feel like a bowl of Rice Krispies.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a very specific way to describe yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way I could describe myself. So
Do you make noise when you sit down? That's a
I'm
big.
like the dad, like,
yeah,
oh,
that's a
like,
big telltale
down.
sign
I mean,
you're old.
that
Yeah.
I will disagree with that. I'm 25. I do the same shit.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since I was 21.
Yeah.
That's just like a guy thing to do, I think. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're necessarily old.
Yeah, I agree.
It does. That's definitely.
Maybe the volume goes up or the length and time.
Yeah, maybe the length. Yeah,
Yeah, the volume.
How
slow it takes you 10 seconds to sit down.
When you sit down, the sigh is a lot longer. It's like this prolonged sigh.
Yeah.
Everybody around you is looking like, is he going to end anytime soon? You're like, just
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah.
It's like getting home from work. The older you get, and once you take that first sip of a cocktail, it's like, oh.
Exactly. Except there's nothing involved. It's just you being you, just living, and it just hurts all times.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, can't wait.
It sounds like you need some prescription medications.
Well,
but anyway.
We'll do our best.
Maybe some medicinals.
Yeah, for sure.
I might have to try that. I've never smoked weed in my entire life, so maybe that'll help.
Yeah,
That's-
sure you haven't.
Well, that wasn't exactly what I was saying.
That's the only medicinals we should probably have for body aches.
That's what I was going at.
Well,
That's exactly what he's going at. So.
let's try that after this podcast.
So, all right.
Sure
So, we've done it. We've came this far. We've finally gotten Tyler on this podcast. So, real
God.
quickly, just to give everybody a background. So, we have asked Tyler about 15 times, which is 3 more times than this podcast has been around, to be on this podcast. And
Yeah.
he keeps... First off, he doesn't even reply to text when he doesn't want to do it.
That's not true.
So...
I
got a 2-year-old at home.
I was
I'm a
actually
busy guy.
I was
Oh,
witness to it yesterday.
You can't be
It was kinda
using your
sad.
daughter for excuses every time.
Well, it works most of the time.
It does, because I
until
can't
you're
fight.
involved.
We can't
Is
fight
that like the best thing about having a child?
Well, I mean,
Is
it's
having
just light of my life. I love her so much, but
Okay, but let's
great for excuses.
Let's be real. Yeah.
Great for excuses. You know, she might already be in bed asleep, and I'm at the bar, and I'm just, hey, she's having a hard time. I gotta get home. my wife's struggling tonight. I gotta get out of here, guys.
As soon as he hangs the phone,
Yeah.
can I get another round, please? I'm good to
That's
go.
so
Oh, yeah.
true, man.
Oh yeah. No, I head straight home, and instead of help, I mean, she's asleep. I go sit on the couch and watch,
Oh my
Love
God.
Island or something like that.
And nobody thinks differently. of
No,
it.
everybody's like, oh, he's a good dad.
Yeah,
What a
it's
good dad.
Wow, what a man.
Wakes up in the morning ready to go. He's like, guys, we haven't seen each other in forever.
Oh, I got a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be top 5 best things about having a kid.
It is.
Sure.
It is a good
Probably
out.
top 3 outside of it being a human. But yes, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good,
Even a
it's good
dog. A dog is close.
I'll tell you
True.
what.
dog
Hey,
is
my
close
dog
to
ate
this.
a rock. I got to go home
It's
and take
not
care
much-
of it. Yeah.
Which is very likely with this.
I have
dog.
baby
She's on
sat-
rocks like it's her job.
Your child, and it's not, and outside of it being a human, the dog is about the same. It's super easy. I don't know why you make it out to be so hard.
Well, we've
Yeah.
raised a wonderful little
great
girl,
child.
so that's
Well, you got to change
Yeah.
diapers and you
Yeah.
got to wipe piss off the ground every 5
Correct.
seconds.
So it's about the same.
go
It's
babysit a
pretty
really
similar.
shitty child.
Like one that
you're-
poops a lot.
No, more so
Oh.
just like a not a great disposition, angry all the time, upset. Maybe sick, maybe an ill child.
Ooh.
Yeah, that changes things up a little bit.
I
But
bet.
enough about
rough.
that.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we're done
that's-
talking about
that's
human
rough.
babies.
That's rough, yeah.
Okay, so we've the lucky thing brought you on a perfect time.
Okay.
You work for the Orlando Magic, and we just had the NBA draft.
2021
Yes,
NBA
sir.
draft. It was a big one.
So-
It was a good
So
draft.
being in the front office of the Magic, how
Yeah.
did you feel about the picks?
I think if I was grading it, it's an A plus. The draft involves a lot of luck. You got your list of here's our top 10 guys, and regardless of where our pick is, this is who we want when, and you play out those scenarios. But who would have thought that the Raptors would have jumped in and drafted
Scotty
Florida
Barnes.
State's Scotty Barnes, freak athlete. He's going to take some time to progress and become an offensive threat, but he's a freak athlete, and that's what the Magic have drafted, I want to say, for a decade,
Yes.
is guys that have huge upside that are going to take some work and some time.
Mhm.
These guys are going to come in and contribute right away.
Oh,
you know?
Jalen Suggs is the man.
Jalen Suggs,
From
which
Villanova, right? Was he from-
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
He was the
Yeah.
man at Gonzaga.
He was
the
great.
one that hit the half-court buzzer beater.
Oh,
the
yeah.
buzzer beater, and a lot of people also don't know. I think he's from Minnesota. The Minnesota Mr. Football his senior year. He was
Really?
a two-sport athlete. He is.
Well, he was supposed to go to, I want to say, Purdue.
He had to make a decision whether it was going to be basketball or football. He
Yeah.
could not do both, which is more and more common in the college game. You
Yeah.
don't have the time to commit to both.
He was.
But-
I know he was a very good dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
In high school, he was amazing. Actually.
so
Really?
being that
He was a-
quarterback, I mean,
he
he's
was a
Mr.
major
Football. He's the
recruit.
best football player in the state. So
Yeah, he was a major recruit.
So coming out, not just being an incredible athlete, but you played football. I played football.
We don't know what Colin is.
He's a baseball
He's a
player.
baseball.
That's
a little
It's
different,
kind of like a
yeah.
different.
It's a different thing.
I'm my own guy. Just
But you see that coming from the football world, and especially being a quarterback, that you're able to read defenses, you're able to read routes,
Anticipate things happening.
and he's able to add that into his
which probably makes
basketball
him
game.
a fantastic passer.
He's a floor general. He's a great defensive guy. He's a great on the offensive and the facilitator. Obviously, a great shooter. Hit the last second, buzzer beater. Great under pressure. So
Probably one of the greatest shots in March
That
Madness
shot was
history.
sick. Dude, the
That was
backcourt
amazing.
for the Magic, in my opinion, could be super good, super talented.
yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, Cole.
I'm excited for the
You have,
Magic this
you have
year.
Suggs,
It's
you have Cole,
crowded.
and you have Markel.
now let's just put things in perspective. It's still Markel's team.
Right.
Markel Fultz was having a phenomenal
Until he-
all-star caliber year
yeah.
before he went down, and he's going to come back, and this is still his team.
I hope so, man. He
But
was so good. He deserves it.
it's nice to see, and this has been a big discussion in the NFL for a long time. You draft the best available player regardless of position, because you can't miss on an all-time
You have to.
talent. You don't draft for position. So I feel like that's what the Thunder did a little bit. I feel like that's what the Raptors did a little bit.
Yeah.
Is drafting for a need. Here's a spot, and we're going to pick
Rather
a
than
guy
the best guy
for the
that-
spot. But we got lucky.
Dude, you got two
that
picks.
he fell to us, and then
Franz
Wagner, who
Franz.
is.
Stallion.
I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of, especially with his outside shooting, seeing a little bit of like a Hito Turkoglu 2.0 a little bit.
Ooh, okay. I
able
love
to able
I
to
love
work on
that
the block,
comparison there.
and then able to jump out, hit some mid range shots, and
I-
he's got some development too under his belt. So
I have
he's
horrible
ready to go.
memories of Hido. When he
was
beat the
the man.
Cavs when LeBron was there and they beat him in
Yeah,
Game
if
6.
you're a
of the-
Cavs fan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Evan Mobley. We're adding some depth, size to our, what was that, front court?
Hold on. Well, I already know the answer because of your top here you got on your blouse, but
Blouses. Victory blouse.
but you're still saying we and us, and you're still a Cleveland guy
I
to
am
this
still-
day.
Still.
I mean,
I'm-
you're 10 plus years in Orlando, Florida,
Well,
and you're
how
not
sad.
going to jump on the Magic bandwagon
Well, I've
now.
always
Jump
or-
on that thing.
So, well, hold on. Time
I've
out.
been here 6
So,
months
I've
and
been
I'm
a
already on
Magic
it.
There you
fan.
go.
I've been a Magic fan since they came into the league. I had a Shaq full blue, the pinstripe uniform.
Hey, man, so did everyone else.
And so I love the Magic. When they get swept by the Rockets, dude, I was devastated when Nick Anderson missed 8,000 straight free throws, and all they had to do was hit one. Sucked. So Magic have always been my second team.
Okay.
The Cavs will always be my first team, but it would be nice for the Magic to be good because I'd like to live in a city where
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
a good sports team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a decade of mediocrity and even, not good teams and trying to rebuild, but I got to say this was a big jump in the right direction. So let's
I'm
see.
excited, man.
Let's see how these guys play, and
Can't
big
wait.
fingers crossed that we're able to get fans back in the building and have some.
Yeah, what's
Some
to
of-
say on that right now?
So we're moving forward with
Full?
planning as if it was the 1920 season. So
Okay.
all fan experiences, engagement.
go.
We're planning to go full tilt.
There's a quick
but-
turnaround. So
Should be.
you're starting
Everything
back
else
up.
is full tilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw it was a super quick turnaround, especially for those that played in the NBA Finals because they're starting now the old schedule start is happening,
We're going back to the normal time frame.
and you
so-
are just ending the playoff, the final. So that's like a month,
Mhm.
because you start training camps soon, right? In like a month.
Yep.
So as
September,
players,
isn't it?
it'll be-
Don't
So
they
like
say
late September, 10-day training camp, and then you jump in
Preseason.
October preseason, the 10th and the 13th, already solidified home games against the Spurs, and I want to say Charlotte, but that might be incorrect.
Charlatans?
I haven't really been paying that close of attention. I've been trying to keep my arm's length, but and then opening night somewhere in October 21st, somewhere in that region. So
and hopefully it's back to normal.
October 21st.
Hopefully-
That's quick.
Hopefully
Yeah.
it's back to normal. Get some fans in there.
yeah, full building. That's what it's all about, getting the fans in there.
I
and
hope so, man.
Creating an
and
atmosphere.
I hope fans actually come out and watch
I
because they
think-
got an exciting team. I think.
Now they do. I think that you have a lot of talent, and they could score. I feel like you have weapons to score
You get some
points.
score.
Hey, if everybody's healthy, This is gonna be a fun team to watch.
I want J.I. to be healthy, like really bad. I think he could be like a dominant player if he could just stay on the court for like a season. Just give the Magic.
Well, especially if you got a guy like Franz Wagner that can pull out, do some outside shooting, pull guys away from the paint, and just let J.I. go in there and dominate.
But his defense, he's so good on defense.
He was tracking to be Defensive Player of the Year 100% before he went down with that injury. So
he's
crazy.
a stud, man.
Yeah.
He's good.
So crazy.
The Magic really got lucky with that guy.
Yeah.
He really
was a good
turned
pick.
out to be.
And Mo Bamba, we got a new coach, Coach Mose, who is.
Yeah, that's right.
I would. So you get to watch some teams do their shoot around a little bit. I'm not supposed to, but you go up in a suite and you kind of tuck yourself in the back and you can see these teams kind of warm up, go through their sets and figure it out. But I think what Brooklyn's got going for them with Steve Nash, he's a guy that he's not a coach that sits on the sidelines and makes points and corrects things like that. He actually grabs the ball and shows them, this is what I want you to do. So he actually gets on the floor and kind of bangs around with the guys.
But he's very capable of doing this.
Absolutely.
He could still honestly play in the league if he wanted to.
Absolutely. So Coach Mose is cut from that same mold. So if you've seen we post some video on social of Mose and Mo Bamba working on some block stuff.
He's giving it to him.
And Mo came out and
him down.
Did a little back down and then had a little touch jumper, a little hook shot that came off the side of the rim. And Mose just said no. He said, "You put on 30 pounds since last season. Like, show me this is what you need to do."
Put this down.
So the very next play, he came in and just dunked on Mo's coach so hard.
Man,
so it's those types of coaches that can get their nose in there and actually not just tell but show exactly what they want and help develop these players. That's what we're looking for.
I'll tell you what, Mo Bamba, I thought he was going to... Well, he put on some weight, but he is like... I feel like he should be way better than what he actually is.
Probably so.
Well,
probably so.
Like
but
everything about...
think how young he is, though. He's
like
still
21?
He's still new to the game, and he has all the intangibles. He's got the size, the strength, the length. He can do it. He can do this. So he just needs... I think this is a great opportunity for him. And hey, we shipped out Nikola Vucevic, which
a lot of time on the
huge thank you for him. We've made playoff series. He's been a 2-time All-Star, incredible player. And then we released what's his name? The Canadian. Kem Birch.
Birch. I love Birch.
We released Kem Birch to go out and actually contribute to a real team. And Fournier's gone. He's in Boston, although he's a free agent this year.
And he just beat the United States a few days ago.
He's having a phenomenal offseason. Well, scored 28, leading scorer for France.
France smoked U.S., which they've bounced back the last 2 games. But
they played Iran.
Well, let's also not...
the Czech Republic.
That's true. But let's also not... The world is becoming more and more accustomed to NBA basketball and FIBA basketball. So, that team has... And I'm going to miss some guys, but they've got...
what do you got? Throw it up there.
Evan Fournier. They've got
France.
Team France.
Yeah.
Evan Fournier. They have who's the center?
They have
Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
They've got. That's an NBA starting 5. Is France's team.
Yeah.
So.
Well, all those teams, we saw Luka. Luka put up 48 in his Olympic debut.
Exactly.
It was the second most ever.
Yeah, the world's getting a lot smaller, so these guys got to figure it out. But
they got
there
Batum.
You go. Batum.
Batum's on there. That's all I got.
Batum, Fournier, and Rudy Gobert, and then they've got some great role players too.
Yeah. There's their full roster.
They're just they're kind of just solid all around. They're kind of like a good team.
That's a good team.
But there's no reason that this team should have beat United States.
No.
It's hard. It's really hard. They're relying a lot on the 3. FIBA is not like the NBA.
It's more physical.
It's a little more physical. It's a little more difficult to score. And the 3-point shot
is not
is important, but not as important as it is in the NBA.
The spacing isn't there.
Yeah.
There's not enough spacing.
So
it'll be interesting. So that's cool.
These guys will figure it out. They're pros. They're going to win the gold medal. Let's not kid ourselves.
USA?
Yes. Who's going to beat them?
They already lost.
Kevin Durant's gonna score 90 points himself.
He just became the all-time
I don't
leading
know, man.
scorer
I guess
in
Greg
U.S.
Popovich-
Olympic history. Kevin Durant did.
I guess they don't necessarily care for Greg Popovich that much.
I'm not a big fan of his approach. Listen, the guy's
he always has that old school approach where it's
and he's
just outdated.
He's an intelligent guy. He knows basketball.
100, yeah, absolutely.
But I think my beef with Pop right now is, these press conferences and talking about we've never blown teams out, like saying wild stuff that's just not true.
That's not true at all. We destroy teams.
We should, and that should be our goal,
Crush
is to win by 40 and
absolutely. That's
be
what
up,
team
be up
average-
30 points after the first
That's
quarter.
what American
the
basketball
dream
is.
team
That's
averaged
exactly
like
right.
a
Should not be
30
close.
some point
Yeah.
win per, like they were like they won by
Yeah.
30 points a game.
It shouldn't
But
even be
his
close.
point is, and which is true, is that the world's getting smaller. These countries are getting great basketball talent that are not only coming to the NBA, but these players are coming over to play NCAA basketball and play college basketball here in the States. So there's a lot of talent out there, but at the same time, with the roster that the United
It's
States
stupid.
has,
They should never lose a game with what they have.
and they've got a lot of three-point shooting. So I understand, I think Damian Lillard's shot maybe 3 for 13 from three. I don't know which game that was. That might have been the France game. So 4 or 5 of those threes go down, then we win the game. I mean, they're relying a lot on the three-point shot, but
Yeah.
I have a question. And I just thought of this. So with the new how college athletes can be paid now,
Mhm.
do you think that players are going to be more willing to stay in college longer than go before they go pro due to the fact that they can now get sponsorships?
Well, people are getting paid in high school now, I think.
Well, no, you can't get paid in high school, but
Not
that
yet?
quarterback from
Your Ohio State
he
quarterback.
early enrolled just so he
He's
get
already
paid.
making like over $1 million.
So I want to
And he
think
hasn't
that
even
way. I want to
enrolled
think
in
that players
college.
could probably, especially those fringe players that like aren't that are really good in college that maybe they aren't
Yeah.
ready for the NBA. Maybe they stay in longer because they can get the sponsorship in college.
Yeah,
It's possible.
It's a good. Yeah, I mean that's a good question too. Like, a lot of people want to leave college early because they obviously aren't getting paid. But at the same time, like I feel like if you're in college, and you are getting paid, maybe you would want to stay in college because
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to go. To
I was
the
just
NBA.
at OU. It's cheap as shit to
It could go-
live in college. Imagine getting like a $100,000 sponsorship that
Yeah.
you're getting.
Yeah,
To live on
it
college
really
campus.
could go either way. Honestly, I don't know. Like
Because
it can make you want to leave
Well-
because you can make more money, or you're content right now.
Because like your
You're-
sponsorship, I don't think outside of being drafted, if you're a top notch, well, I guess the top notch you're going anyway.
yeah.
The top of the end, you're going no matter what. But you got those other guys that maybe
But
they
I
got
don't
like
know,
secondary
man. Like-
some players might make more because they're better college players. Like I would say, the equivalent would be like Tim Tebow for basketball. Like he was way more of a college football player than he was an NFL player.
Yeah,
so his
but he would
sponsorships be
probably,
better.
honestly, he would probably have made more money in college than he would as a rookie in
Yeah.
the NFL.
I agree.
So why not?
so there's 2 points there.
okay.
The first being the rookie. I only know from the NBA perspective. I don't know from NFL.
just
There's
using
no,
it as
NFL. There's no
yeah.
guarantees.
Correct.
But from the NBA perspective, a rookie minimum is like $400K.
So like it's
Which is not
Great.
bad.
So that
I
is
would
to
take
play
that
a
in a
fucking
heartbeat.
sport.
that's a tremendous amount of money, and that's based off of rookies as they come. That's the minimum, right?
Right.
Your
Yeah.
first round draft pick, he's going to be anywhere from $2 to $5 million a year.
okay.
So there's 3 guys in the NCAA that are going to make even sniff that type of a
Right.
number.
Yeah.
So we're talking linemen. We're talking guy on the bench, right? Because there's very few people that actually make it
That's
to the
true.
league. It's a very
true.
small number.
That's true.
So that's the first. Is like there are minimums in the league where if you're able to get to that, then your endorsements aren't going to be anywhere near that.
Yeah.
The second is this is all so new, the name, image, and likeness that I know athletic departments and companies on the same side are both struggling trying to figure this out.
How they're going to do it. How they're going to work.
So
around
I had a conversation the other day with a colleague that I explained that let's say the Carl Black Chevrolet of Orlando, Florida, only has
a budget for,
let's say, $750,000 for their yearly sports budget. So now, instead of spending 150, 200K on University of Central Florida, UCF sports, and being a partner with them,
okay,
it's more economical for them to pick out 2-star athletes,
put all their money on that.
slide that money over. The budget's not getting bigger from the corporate side.
Yeah.
So this is going to be interesting to watch as
I didn't
athletic
think that.
programs
That's
sort of
interesting.
deteriorate,
Yeah.
because those revenue streams are going to start to dry up. And
Yeah.
you have programs like Ohio State that just swim in money, that have brought in specialists that they can use as a recruiting pitch now, that we have specialists on staff that their job is to go out and get you sponsorships.
Damn. That's
Whereas the lesser, the Purdue's,
Yeah.
you know, I know Big Ten, so that's why I always reference these Big
Mm-hmm.
Ten schools. But the Purdue, the Indiana, they don't have
Right.
their budget doesn't include
The Nebraska.
the amount of. Exactly.
That's why I think this could like potentially destroy like.
Well,
that's what they want. That's the goal.
It's
That's
going
the
to
end game.
destroy. I mean, it's going to destroy.
Well, Miami-
And this is a good
schools that
segue.
aren't
This is actually a
good.
great segue into this nonsense that's going on. I don't call it nonsense, but with the Big 12 and the SEC,
Yeah.
Wow.
is that Greg Sankey with the SEC is the head guy over there. His goal is to blow up the NCAA. He doesn't think the NCAA should even exist.
Well, it's pretty corrupt in
Yeah,
general.
I mean
Right.
it's pretty bad.
Right.
But the Big 12 is going to be
Garbage.
Once Oklahoma and Texas leave, it's crushed.
Well,
Well, we're going to pick out.
It's
Every
crushed,
conference
man.
is going to go and pick out.
Well, they're
they should. Well,
teams.
they should take it in. They should move it into 4 conferences, because I saw something on Twitter where you can, if you divide the teams up, you can have 16 in each. So it'd be a Power 4, but it would be 16 teams in each conference. It would even out itself.
I don't disagree.
or you
Somebody's going to have to go.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, that Big 12 is going to be
Big 12
nobody's going to watch.
Well, the Big 12 is
Kansas State
suing
play
ESPN
Iowa
right
State.
now because ESPN has the SEC rights. Is that right? The broadcasting rights. So the Big 12 is suing ESPN right now because they said that ESPN was trying to get some of these other schools
Yeah.
to back out, which would null and void
Mhm.
Texas and Oklahoma's contract
Yeah.
to allow them to
Right.
leave.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a whole mess going on.
Yeah.
But they accepted, Texas and Oklahoma accepted 2025. They're going to the SEC in 2025.
I also
been
th-
accepted through.
Yeah,
the-
I also think if
conference.
you're going to move Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, you have to expand the playoff, because it's going to destroy.
Well, it's already-
because it's at 4 right now.
But it got no. Did they pass that one? With,
There's still the vote. The final vote hasn't happened. There's been a lot of discussion, and there's a preliminary vote to continue to explore
Yeah.
that format, which is going to happen. You're going to have,
have
But they have
12.
to.
So it's 12 teams. It was the top 5 from each Power 5 conference.
Yeah.
Well, whoever wins that conference championship. But that, obviously, with the Big 12 nonsense, is
Yeah.
going to go away to the top 4. And then the top, call it 8 seeded
Yeah.
teams following that.
Yeah.
So-
but with the big 14 playoff, the big thing was SEC bias. Like
Yeah.
every time was the SEC bias. It was always like Georgia, Alabama,
Yeah.
and maybe some.
Well, the
other
Big
guy.
Ten seemingly
Yeah.
always had
But
a
then-
spot reserved.
Yeah. So
right?
So it was always Ohio State.
Yep.
And then you had Clemson. Everyone. So it
Yep.
would alter. It would be Oklahoma would fluctuate in Ohio State, Clemson. It was literally those other 3 teams, and then it was 2
SEC.
SEC schools that
Right.
were always in.
Right.
So now you have that one Big 12 team that was always representing the Big 12. in
only- the
Oklahoma.
only team
the only
that was-
team
yeah.
that would.
and now you're in.
And
the
now
SEC.
they're in the SEC. So now there's going to be even more SEC bias.
Texas is
So
gonna
now
get-
there could be 3 teams. If
Texas
they
is
keep
going
it
to get
forced in the
smoked,
playoff.
dude.
It's just
I
gonna
have a-
create so
I have a
much
feeling,
nonsense.
dude. Texas and Oklahoma that first season, they're going to get destroyed. I don't believe they have the
I don't know if
defense to keep
Potentially.
up
But
with anybody.
how
in
The defense.
how upset? I don't want to say upset is the word, because it's probably deeper than that. But
Hurt.
how angry is Texas A&M right now?
I don't think they. I watched an interview of Greg McElroy.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback for Texas.
Yep.
And he said he loves it. He's like, this is finally like the rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M is finally back.
Well, I think
Like it's real. Like
I think
it's a
where
real rivalry
Texas
now.
A&M came from, they joined the SEC, and there was some excitement there. That's a recruiting advantage for them.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Being
And
in
now that
SEC,
Texas
yeah.
is there, it's like they lost that element.
It is.
Well,
That's
they were getting
that's
stomped.
huge, man.
They weren't gaining anything on that one. They literally weren't. Texas A&M was not gaining anything by being in the SEC, in my opinion.
I
They
don't
were
think
getting-
so. I don't think so. I
they were
mean,
And
getting
as an
crushed, like-
athlete, to be able to play the
Yeah.
best and be able to
I
be
mean, being
on
in
that
the
SEC network, be on the
being in the SEC,
the SEC
is-
network is much
Yeah.
more successful and profitable and watched than
Yeah.
what it was. What's the Texas? The Longhorn Network.
Well, so what happens with that? Because Texas had their own network, so it's
It's the deals through 2025.
so
With
they
ESPN,
no
right?
long will have
Yeah,
that.
they'll need to
long-
figure that out.
Isn't
Yeah.
that ESPN?
Just-
Isn't it through ESPN?
Well, it is
Longhorn
through
Network?
ESPN. Yeah.
Right.
It's a wild. You think the Big Ten will pick up
That's
anybody?
crazy, dude. No.
Yes, I do.
Ooh.
Who do we take? Though?
I think they're going to pick somebody
Go.
up.
Nebraska.
I would
West
say
Virginia?
probably
West Virginia?
Is Kansas still in the
Oh,
Big 12?
Why would we pick Kansas?
Wait, is Nebraska?
Why
Is Nebraska in the
worst-
Big Ten?
The worst team in Division I football. You're going to pick Kansas? That's the team.
maybe that Big Ten jumping onto that umbrella might
We just
elevate
saw
their.
Nebraska, who was one of the top teams. Just they can't even compete.
Nebraska's
If
Big Ten
anybody,
now,
I would
right?
pick-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a
If
one-off.
anybody, I would pick like West
Under
Virginia.
Scott Frost, they're going to be.
Well, that
they're
dude-
going to figure it out.
I would pick
You think
West Virginia.
so?
Give me
I think
West,
they will.
Give me West Virginia. Bring West Virginia
think
over to the
so.
Big Ten.
I would like West Virginia.
What did
I mean,
they win?
that's cool.
2 games last year? Nebraska?
They did really bad.
Yeah,
But
bad, man.
he inherited that roster. I mean, those aren't his recruits. Those aren't. you
I
gotta
think
about that.
UCF.
So what would you say?
I think you
so
can
what
make
would
a
you say about
case-
UCF then when he was good at UCF?
You can make a
He
case.
technically inherited that roster and won the national championship.
Well, UCF.
Well, yeah, he
was-
had a
he had
monster that was. I mean, that has been a long time coming.
Dude.
Of teams getting tired of the old act at Florida, and Florida State. I always think is
trash.
no. I think they're good, and I think they have a good. They're able to sell. Have you been to Tallahassee? Like
Oh, I mean, it's a beautiful atmosphere.
They have
the
something to
environment
sell.
there. The environment there is
absolutely.
Yeah.
very good.
I think it's
where
like
Florida's a fun party school and all that, but
Tallahassee's.
I think they're after the whole Tebow years and stuff. I think that just people grew tired of that. So I don't know. As an athlete, if I had any one of those schools, and this is a shout out to any
I'm going to Florida. over
any
Florida State.
recruiter that is watching this. I do have 1 year of eligibility left. If you're interested, I would play for any of those schools.
This would be
Long
a great
snapper would be a
promotional-
phenomenal position
It'd be a
for
great
me.
promotional tool. You bring.
You get toppled
We've seen
over
a-
before you
we've seen
even
a lot of-
snap that
We've
ball.
seen a lot of articles about old people playing sports, so this would be a great promotional tool for anybody who
That's
needs
right.
like some press.
That's made for TV right there.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. So we talked about football. We moved around, but I want to go back a little bit. And I know me and Colin were talking about this, and Colin's him and his broadcasting and stuff like that behind the camera. He worked at the Bubble, the NBA
I did.
Bubble,
Yeah.
which is a very unique experience, right? It's like you're able to in the middle of a pandemic, we were able to take these 30. Was it all? No, it was like what 20 teams. Put them in a bubble
I think there were 18.
at Disney,
Yeah.
and everybody stayed there and just played like
It's
an
incredible,
an
yeah.
AAU tournament basically for NBA players.
Just the fact that they pulled that off is amazing in
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it was wild.
So give us a little rundown.
What
on
was your like day-to-day life? Like day in the life of a
Yeah.
NBA
a
bubble.
bubble boy?
So it was interesting.
Occupant.
So first, there's a tremendous amount of testing. You test every day.
Oh.
But to even get in there, so you have to go get tested at multiple places. And I was one of the few people that came from, I was a game director. So my position is production and really the TV broadcast and the in-arena feel, because you don't have, every team is not in their home court.
Mhm.
The Orlando Magic probably felt most comfortable because this is like 20 minutes down the street from
Close,
them.
Yeah.
But the idea,
LeBron hated it. We all know LeBron.
yeah, he
hated
was
it.
not a fan.
Why
Not a
does he
fan.
fucking hate it so much?
But
Grow up, LeBron.
the idea was to take content, whether that be video, music, PA announcers, all these different elements in a home arena, and bring them to the bubble to give players just that little bit of home court advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that when they were the home team, they saw their fans on virtual screens. They saw their content. They heard music familiar to them, voices
something.
familiar to them,
Yeah.
to give them that little bit of an edge. So that was the goal of my entire position, was to come there and figure that piece out.
So you didn't necessarily work for the Magic.
No, I was working on behalf of the league. Yeah.
Okay.
So when
That's
you
cool.
came in, 7 days of in-room isolation. So that part's tough. And
Unless you're an NBA
the first
player.
few days, food was really bad. Which, if you follow me on
We saw that.
Instagram, which you did, I documented every meal. So that was very interesting. I got a lot of feedback to keep doing that after the first few days. So I did. But those first 7 days, we had a couple virtual meetings, and then you get the content. So we're talking 20 teams, 18 teams, whatever it was,
God.
with 200 pieces of content per team. So it really takes a lot of time to learn, especially like a lot of teams do very player-specific things. So, if Danilo Gallinari hits a 3, you have to react with this sound effect, this video effect, and then that team has this. OKC at the time has 3 different levels. So if he hits a second 3, but it's in the second quarter, we want you to do this, this, and this. So to be able to even have that
So did you have to
That's
like
in your mind,
insane.
Did you have to like? All right, before the game is starting, are you doing like a report? Like you're reading through like this is what I have to do because you're doing multiple teams.
Yeah,
You're
so
not
you
just
had
Magic,
you had a
right?
meeting with each team prior to the game, their home game,
Okay.
where they just reminded you like, hey, this is the content that we have. This is what we really want. We included these files, but they don't necessarily need to be played, but they're there if you want them. But here's the big ticket items. We want this, this, and this, and this. So I built, and then shared with the rest of my colleagues. I was one of 8 people there. So one of 8 game directors, 3 different courts,
That's insane.
two
That's amazing.
games per day at each court. So 8 games, or what's that? 6 games total
Yeah.
per day. And so I would direct 2 games a day. Was just taking a ton of content, and then sometimes like there's some things I didn't necessarily agree with. You know?
Are you allowed to say one thing that you didn't disagree with?
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff,
Well,
and I
let's
wouldn't
just
say it. It would be like we'd be in live action, and they'd be like, "Hey, when LeBron does this X, Y, Z, we want this done." And then I would look at the file and shout out to my boy Matt, if you ever see this, I'm so sorry for trashing your team like this. No, he's a good dude. But it's like, yeah, that's not. We could do something more impactful than that.
Okay.
Like
Yeah. All right.
that's a tradition that you might do,
Yeah.
but
There's something else.
Let's
I
amp it
saw
up a
this
little.
other team. I'm going to pull that element in, this audio piece, and then you provided us this video file that was used for this specific reason, but I'm going to rework it and then use that.
Okay, you bring up a good point on that one. So now that you've done, and we'll get back into the bubble part, but I want to sidetrack. So now that you've done like the bubble, and you've worked like other teams, a whole bunch of things. Are there things that you were like,
Tons
you know,
of
the
it.
same tons that you're like, dude, this is a good idea.
Content-wise,
We're gonna
stole
bring it
all
to
of it.
Orlando, and like,
Stole all of it.
so this coming year, we should expect the show
it's
for
gonna
the
be
match
pretty
to be
awesome,
fucking
huh?
crazy.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be
yeah.
wild.
And
Top
if
of the
and if
line.
anyone from the league watches, I didn't take any of that stuff, but I 100% ripped files, audio, ideas, all that.
Well,
All that's back in the
that's a-
bank.
that's a
and
smart
s-
thing to
and
do.
sent that all back to my team in Orlando.
You'd,
and
be,
That's
said,
pretty
you'd be
awesome.
stupid if
yeah,
you didn't.
we're
Yeah,
taking
right?
all this stuff.
Yeah.
We're
That's
taking
pretty
all
cool.
this stuff.
That's
So-
It was unique.
So getting all these audio files and having to learn all this stuff, like eventually, I'm assuming at the start of it was pretty hard, but eventually,
Yeah.
did it become like routine? Like you kind of figured out,
Yeah,
like,
it
which
did.
player, like star players, if they scored this or that, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of had a feeling of what they expected. So
A
you kind
little
of learned
bit.
a little bit about every one of the teams.
Yeah, a little bit. The big issue was there was another game director that was on my team. So each team had 2 game directors, a video producer, a DJ, kind of that did sound, So there was so many teams that
Yeah,
I would be doing OKC in the morning, and then I would do Houston at night,
Yeah.
and then we would flip, and so there was just so much, and no one from that specific team was really there.
Yeah.
So I can't think of. I did 2 Lakers games, and beyond that, there wasn't a lot of repetition. So you're only doing one team, and then there's that gets flipped to another game director, and he's in
Right.
charge. So
Yeah.
You didn't really do any like repeaters.
Yeah, so it wasn't very
I was
repetitive.
I was lucky enough that the Magic were playing that I got to do multiple Magic games, and that's my own content. So
Yeah.
of course those were the most fun
so
games.
those are
because
probably easy. Yeah,
you kick
that
your
was
feet
probably
up,
like a walk in the park.
and
Yeah,
you just
for
know
you.
exactly
Yeah.
what you're calling for
It's like
every
a day
time.
off. That's a day off.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got to watch. I mean, we went to a Magic game during the pandemic, and we got to go up to the suite and watch you kind of like
Yeah,
do a little bit of work.
Yeah.
And sit there. That was. I didn't realize all the monitors. There's so many different monitors.
well, those are just cameras and stuff like that. Then you got your game script, and you know, and then we have a second screen experience that you saw.
Yeah.
And we were playing with that stuff.
Well,
and,
a lot of your stuff, you have that game script. A lot of that stuff
Yeah.
is already planned out. For
oh,
you,
it's
right?
just
I mean,
execution at that point.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's somebody.
Yeah.
Just somebody above you does that. Was that the producer?
well,
do you
I
create
build.
Do you create the scripts?
I do, yeah, and I
You
build
create the
that.
scripts?
So essentially, what we're trying to do is I take my role, and I don't know if this is my official role. I don't know if this is even my job. I just kind of started doing it. And,
Well, brag about yourself,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Maybe you get
But-
a promotion after
so
this.
I take all of the elements from the revenue generating side. So
Yeah.
you got your group sales, fan experiences, your global partnerships, activations, all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that, and then I take the entertainment side, which is your live performances, music, lighting, video,
Yeah.
all those different live production elements,
Mhm.
and I just marry those two to try to make it
Yeah.
somewhat entertaining. So that's what you saw up there. That's what we were doing, and so there's a ton of people on that team, and there's people above me, below me. It's like a huge team effort, and everybody's just so talented. Like that's the crazy part is I could quite literally just scribble some notes on a Post-it note and put it up on the wall, and everyone will be able to do a full game
Yeah.
just like that, just talking to each other and
Yeah,
figuring
it's
it
not-
out because they're just all so talented. So
The amount of people it takes to, because we were watching, we brought this up, we were talking about earlier before the podcast, we were watching this Netflix show, I think it was called like,
Mhm.
what make the movies that make us, and
The
like the
movies that make-
amount of production it takes to do in a movie, and not only, and now we're talking about an
And
event,
that's just-
a live event is
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
And that's just in-house too.
Yeah.
That's not even like the broadcast side of things.
No, broadcast
I mean,
is-
broadcast brings in
because you
their
did that
entire,
shit when you were in when you
their
did work the
entire
World
crew.
Series. I'm assuming it's probably very
It's-
similar when you worked the World Series.
It's stupid how many people come in, like how many aspects. Honestly, how they do it is, it's honestly amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like it's honestly how you can like crew and how you can coordinate all these different types of people to all come around and create one show.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like when I worked the World Series, it's hundreds of people, and it's hundreds of people that aren't even working for the same network. It's different like it's multiple networks.
Yep.
Like multiple networks are bringing in different people, and they all combine and they all create their own show, and everybody's coordinating with each other. I mean, sometimes people clash and
Yeah.
it gets a little aggressive and
Yep.
a little bit fiery, but for the most part, it's fucking amazing.
It's a beautiful
how
thing.
It really, television is fucking amazing.
Yep. And then the
It's
crazy
amazing.
part about that is, that's a simultaneous. That's a show. I'm running a show that's going alongside a live broadcast
Mhm.
show, but at the end of the day, it's all dictated by that action
Yeah.
on the court.
Yeah.
So that changes. I mean, we're
on
very
the fly. You're on the
we're
fly.
very
Crazy,
dynamic.
man.
Our show is
Yeah.
super dynamic. Where
You never know what's going to happen.
we might have something planned, but then something happens live
Absolutely.
action, and we have to alter and kind of highlight
Absolutely.
that moment and
Yeah.
make that a moment, an experience for people.
You could be doing a Laker game and you could be highlighting somebody, and all of a sudden LeBron gets hurt. He's done for the season. Next thing you know, your entire fucking week broadcast is about LeBron.
exactly. Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You have to be so smart and so quick.
You used to be
Well,
like,
it's a ton of fun. I mean, we
Crazy.
call it a job, but like I get to sit and watch basketball, the
yeah.
best basketball players in
It
the world
is.
play. So
I wanna. You texted me and you sent us pictures. You gotta tell the story, the haircut
the
story.
barber.
So
Okay.
if anybody who plays video games, NBA 2K, they have a barber shop on there. So you can go get your haircut. Your avatar can go get a haircut, and you can get all these different.
That's
crazy.
ridiculous. You can
So-
get a haircut in a video game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess GTA you can go to the strip
GTA, you can do
clubs.
that. You can do
It's
that.
hard
at
enough for me to get a haircut
Red,
in real life.
Red Dead Redemption, you can
Yeah.
get a haircut in that one too.
Spend time in a video game doing
So
it.
they mimic. They built. So they built a barber shop that looked like
A replica of the
of-
2K
yeah.
barbershop in the bubble. Yeah.
So you, so you weren't supposed to be there. However, Give us the rundown of.
Okay, I'll
What
jump
happened
in
this
here.
one?
There's 3 different campuses, right?
Yeah.
So the campus that I was on was the campus where they housed all NBA staff, and then the top 4 seeds from the Eastern and Western Conference. So obviously all the best players, all the whatever. So there's a protocol leading up to going into the bubble that you can't do all these things. You have to quarantine at home for 10 days, and then you come in, you're 7 days isolation in your room.
Jesus.
So I hadn't had and then I was in the bubble for 2 months. So I hadn't had a haircut in over 2 months.
You were definitely like a Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, it was bad.
Full-blown.
It was bad.
What about the beard? Could you shave the beard?
The beard I did self-trim in my room. I've not. This is a new thing.
So that was like a Patch Adams thing. So
I usually keep it pretty close.
Well,
but
that looks pretty good.
Yeah,
well,
that's-
you know,
that's
I
a
started.
lot of practice.
I started letting it grow out, and hey, it grew on me. Sorry, bad joke.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's a Nate joke.
Anyway,
That's
that's a dad joke.
He
That's a
got
dad
it
joke.
That
before I
was
could
a
even
Nate
say anything.
joke.
Before I could even say anything, he
Yeah,
brought
I
it
knew,
up.
I knew you were gonna say it. So
Oh,
I beat
you knew
to
I was
it.
gonna like that. That was well played on that one. sir.
So I looked bad. I was on national TV for a Lakers game. My mom saw me, texted me a picture. Was like, "I'm so proud of you, but you look awful." Like, because you can't wear hats. It's bad.
Your mom, hold on. Your mom
My mom texted
was
me
like,
and said, "Your hair looks really
Tyler,
bad."
you don't look good at all.
No, she was like, "What's going on with your hair?" And I was like, "There's no way to get my hair cut.
She's like,
I don't know what to do."
I'm like trying.
Shut up, Mom,
I'm
I look
trying to tell
fine.
I'm trying to tell my friends that like Tyler's in the bubble, and then I look at you like I'm embarrassed.
It was something like that. So, the long story short, the NBA had developed an app where you could go in and do all these different services and book all these different things and get access to information. But one of the things in there was a phone number, which I don't know if I was supposed to have access to, a phone number to the barbershop. So I dug down.
So text you through the phone.
I dug through the app. I got the number. I called.
Nailed it.
It was bad. I didn't even address it. If you noticed, I just glossed over it.
Text me through.
Yeah,
I figured like you just throw it out there and just see if you get any.
Yeah, no, I glossed over it.
Okay.
You literally can't tell a story on this podcast.
Right. So I booked an appointment that I wasn't supposed to have. They just asked my name and team affiliation. Tyler Edwards, Orlando Magic. So we get there, and it's super cool. I mean, you've seen photos. It's pretty remarkable. So as soon as I open the door, there is like kind of that moment where like record scratch stop. Everyone kind of looks at the door.
Yep.
And it's very obvious I'm not supposed to be there.
Who's this fucking guy?
Yeah, right. So the guy that I had scheduled with, he's like, "Oh, I'm finishing this guy up. Just have a seat, and I got you next." So I sit down, and there's a lot of players coming through, and it was kind of like it was very nerve-wracking. And I'm, if you haven't,
because you just felt like out of place. Like
It's
you
the
felt,
most-
like you're sitting there sweating. You're like, man, I should not be here.
It's
right
the most
now. I should not be
intimidating
here now."
haircut.
It
ever.
is.
Like
It
everybody's
is.
like, you're like, man, I know I
so
should.
I had to preface this. I had looked up the guy that I had been assigned to.
It's hilarious.
I had looked up this barber,
shit in his pants.
and he is.
just sweating, just
he
profusely
is-
sweating your armpits.
Oh, I was
You
sweating
got like
for sure.
pit
Yeah.
stains. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God
It was
damn
bad.
it!
It was bad.
You're like, all I want is a haircut. And you're like, you come in like the guy's like, God, this guy's sweating like a mother.
I was, and
fuck
he
is
had to
this?
cut my hair. But I looked the guy up, the barber up, prior to arriving, and like 600,000 follows on Instagram.
Damn.
He cuts the hair for both the LA Clippers and the Lakers. It's like $600 a cut. I was nervous.
Damn.
I was very nervous already, so I got in there even more nervous. Whatever. I finally got in the chair. I am just to clear the air.
$600.
I am a Caucasian man, so my hair is very
I couldn't
different.
tell.
Yeah,
If we did-
yeah.
So if
And
we
you have
did-
an orange
if
beard.
if nobody knows,
Yeah.
this man is Caucasian.
I'm
He's a
super
Caucasian
right?
man
So
with
let's
an
preface
orange
it with an
beard.
orange
So I come in
An orange
and
beard.
I've never really had like I don't go to the barber when I'm even outside the bubble. Like I used to
Yeah,
get my
Riley,
hair.
you have your daughter cut it.
No, the woman that cuts my wife's hair also cuts my hair, and it's all like scissor cut and it's whatever. So
It's all right. It's generic. It's
So-
$12.
well, I go in there, right? I go to Sports Clips.
We
just-
normally we just put a bowl on your head and we just trim it around the sides.
I wear a lot of hats, and not
That's why he's wearing the hat right now.
That's
so-
exactly right. I haven't been in the barber in a while, but So I'm not used to barber lingo. So I sit in the chair and he's like, "What number do you want?" And I was like, 14? Just
Don't you wish like you
I had
had
no idea
Don't
what
you
was
wish
on
you were
that.
like?
That's like a
Yeah.
snip.
Don't you wish like it was like
they don't even have that. That's not
driving up
even
to like a drive-through? He like holding. Just pick your hairstyle. Like I'll take a number. 14.
Well, so I ended
I'll
up
take a 24.
I ended up getting a photo.
I like Jeff Gordon, so I go with 24.
Showing a photo. He's like, "Okay, I got you," and trim me up, whatever. And my hair was so grown out because I'd been so long, and I was getting it cut so close that it took a long time.
You're like a Forrest.
What did
like
you
a
end up
redheaded
going
Forrest
with?
Gump.
I just went with like a simple mid fade, like scissor cut on top.
Do you even know what you got?
He did a beard trim on me because I had like a little bit of facial hair at the time.
Did they lather the beard?
Bro, it was an hour haircut,
He probably
and
got
it was
the- he
one of
probably
the
got the
greatest
razor, too, on your
experiences of my.
beard.
Oh my god!
Trimming
Like
the
little
side.
razors on the back of your neck.
Everywhere.
You're like, oh,
Right here,
everywhere.
trimming your
Towel.
neck.
Hot towel, like lotions and stuff. It was an incredible. Like I can see why people would pay $600 for this. It was an incredible haircut, but. He trims the beard. He sits me up. He's just, putting a little product in. He's, I'm getting finished. And there had been multiple guys in the other chairs, only 2 barbers, multiple guys in the other chair. Like, we're talking NBA role players for the most
Russell
part.
Westbrook and LeBron on his left and right.
He's got like Mark Cuban like chilling like right
There were a couple
passing
role
out
players.
Bitcoin. He's like, here you go, man. Just
There
take
were a
this.
couple role players here and there. Some guys from the Heat came in and all got cleaned up. But then the GM from the Toronto Raptors came in. And he had like
Is that the guy that got pushed?
yes,
Yes. What's his name?
it's a very hard
I
name.
can't fucking remember that guy's name.
But he comes in, sits in the chair. He just gets cleaned up. He's already got a wonderful haircut. He's just getting like his neck trimmed, his beard trimmed up, whatever. So he's just getting lined up. So he finishes right as I'm.
That seems like a
Masai
Bobby
Yes.
Webster seems like a super easy name.
Masai Uriri.
Masai Ujiri,
Okay.
I think is
Yeah.
his name.
All
So he's in the chair next to me, and he just gets like just cleaned up, just lined up, and it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. And he stands up, and I witness because my guy had turned the chair around, so I'm facing them.
Yeah,
And
he
I
did
watch-
he did that on purpose.
I watch him pull out. It's probably $400 or $500 cash to tip the guy. So it doesn't hit me until then. That's like, oh my god.
This is not a free haircut.
Well, it is a free cut because the league paid for these guys to be here as a service, but they're expecting tips. And on a $600 haircut, that's a big tip. So I start scrambling, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm nervous. I start sweating again. I start sweating again. So finally, he, flicks the apron off, and he's like, "You're good to go, man." And I jump out of the chair, and first thought is like, I'm gonna take care of this guy. Do you have Venmo? And he's like, no, I don't do Venmo, but I do everything else, Cash App, all that stuff. I don't have any of that, so all I have is Venmo.
I don't understand how people
So then
don't
I
have Venmo.
Pull out my wallet, and I look in, and it's one of those like where like moths fly out.
The guy's like, he's like, what?
He's
So-
like, I'm not getting it.
He's
I
like,
pull
God,
out. I pull out
this
like
guy.
$12. I think it's every last piece of cash I had on me. Didn't think I need cash in the NBA bubble. So I pull out like $12 and hand it to him, and he kind of like one of those like where he looks at it for a long time.
You're like, hey, don't use that all in
looks
one.
up at me,
Don't use that all in one place, okay?
and I just say like, "Thanks for the hair. This is a great haircut." And
That was a life changing.
I leave out of the front door, and I'm in my own mind. I'm like, that was embarrassing, but I'm never gonna see that guy again. Like, I'm not going to LA to get $600 haircuts. Never gonna see him again.
I wonder if he is watching this podcast.
The very next day.
He's gonna,
The very next day, I'm having breakfast, and he comes up on a bicycle.
His
and,
name-
like, hits the brakes.
His name is Tyler
Because-
Edwards,
Yeah.
and he
because
lives
who?
in Orlando, Florida.
He's like, yo, what's up, man?
He came up, hit the brakes, and was like, "Hey, how do you like your cut?" And I was like, "Oh man, this is embarrassing." So
Oh man, I
That's
bet
my-
you looked
that's my bubble
pretty
story.
snazzy. Though,
I
after
took
that.
pictures,
You
like
look good.
full 360 pictures,
You
sent them to
look
my
good.
wife.
I'll say this.
And then to this day, I
Did
still
she
use
love
them
it?
as like barber. Like I go to a barber and I'm like, try to do this because this was
And
the
they
best,
can't. They
the
can't
best
do it.
haircut I've ever
They
had in my
can't
life.
do
You
it.
looked great.
That's
Well,
hilarious.
what?
What a story.
That
That's
the
hilarious.
whole.
I would shit my pants, dude. I can't even go
Dude.
into a new barber without shit.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
Dude,
like, God, what are
I
these
couldn't even
guys gonna
imagine
think?
like thinking like seeing the guy next to me just get like a tip of like 600. You're like, I would start sweating.
was
My
bad.
body would be so hot. I'd be like,
was bad.
but you can't leave.
Yeah.
You can't leave the place. You
Oh,
can't just
you're-
walk out.
I'm
You're
in the chair.
committed. You're committed.
I'm already in the chair.
Well,
He's already done the
what
cut.
do they expect, man? They had to know that they're cutting
Yeah.
hair for
Well,
NBA
no.
players
No.
and
No.
no.
It was
okay,
supposed to
never
be.
mind.
It was,
I'm wrong.
it was supposed to be open to only NBA players and basketball operations
He
staff.
snuck in.
And I
In the back
came
door.
in and I just said, they're like, when I made the appointment, what's your name? Who you with? I was like, oh, I'm Tyler Edwards with the Orlando Magic. And they're like, oh,
Snuck
the
in the
Magic.
back
Okay,
door.
you're good.
Oh, sweet, yeah, man.
Here's your appointment.
What are you, a bench player?
And then I showed up and they're
Ball
like,
boy? Ball boy?
What are you making, like $500,000?
what's going on? Like, you're short and white. So
And a redhead.
something's not adding up.
Hey, the white players are pretty good. in the
That's true.
NBA.
There's some good.
There's some good.
Hurdle's good.
That are what white players are good. That are not European. There's none.
Caruso.
That doesn't matter. You could be white.
There's
and
good
European.
guys
as
out
long
there.
as you're
There's
white.
not.
You're
There's
white.
good guys
What do you
out
mean?
The
there.
best white guy.
Let's
was
not
Larry
turn
The
it
best
into
player in the
a-
league is white.
Let's
is what
not
it is.
turn it into that. There's a ton of guys that
There's
are.
a ton.
I'm not.
Hey, who's the dude? He played for Wisconsin, maybe, and now he's with the Suns. Is his first name Frank?
Frank Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky. Did you see him when he got into the? He had a great playoff series
He
where
did
he
play
got
good.
in. He played 10 minutes and dunked on some dudes.
He did play
hit
good.
some shots.
He did play good.
There's plenty of white guys out there, but they're probably not getting good haircuts.
Yeah.
They're not getting as good as that.
They're getting bowl cuts.
They're getting bowl cuts,
They're
like the
getting
old,
bowl
like what we did
cuts.
when we were like
we're
kids.
just gonna put a little
Exactly
salad
right.
bowl on their head and cut
All right.
around it.
All right, what else you guys want to talk about?
I mean, I don't know. What do you have to play? Like the only other thing that we had, because I haven't even looked up anything that's going on in the world outside of just wearing masks everywhere, was actually I have no idea. I've tried to stay away from news stuff for a week
Yeah,
because that shit is depressing.
it can get heavy. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Takes
I will
its
say
toll on
this:
the mentals.
went to Ohio OU this weekend, this
Yeah.
past weekend. Alums right here,
Yeah.
me and Tyler
Yeah.
realized how cheap it is to go live on a college campus.
Yeah, it's probably good you don't live there.
Well, it depends on how you.
Alcoholism.
Well, definitely alcoholism because
Definitely alcohol.
Definitely.
He just admitted
I feel
why he
like
shouldn't live
I
there.
feel like the prices are what they were in the '60s. It's
Yeah.
a penny for a shot of beer. We went one time, we got a pitcher of beer for $3.75. I bought a round,
Which is stupid, man. That's
right.
just
It was
dumb.
8 drinks.
That's dumb.
So I bought rounds for 2 bars for $50 or 30 people. I'm like,
we
Orlando.
spent. How much was our pitcher? Our pitcher at
It was
what's that place called? Mary's.
Hamburger Mary's.
Hamburger
Took
Mary's.
him to Hamburger Mary's
Oh,
for the
yeah.
soccer game yesterday.
$15 for a pitcher. Man.
That was
and you
like-
got one for $3.
Yeah.
Yeah, $3.75.
That doesn't
And it's
make
the old
sense.
school pitchers. 8
That doesn't
beers.
even
The big-
beers
the
in
big
one
picture.
pitcher.
That doesn't
Although
even
that
make
one we had at Hamburger Mary's was pretty good. We hit up the soccer game yesterday, which was sick.
Yeah.
One of the
Man.
best. I've been all in. I've never been a soccer fan my entire life.
It won you over.
Ever since I started working the Gold
So you
Cup,
worked the
man,
Gold
I'm
Cup.
sold.
Yeah.
Soccer's lit.
Yeah.
Soccer's
So-
fucking awesome.
So
It
Orlando.
can be.
It can be.
It can also be really
It's-
terrible.
It can be awful.
I feel like
We had-
but that's the same
I
thing.
feel like
with
soccer
any
game.
sport,
That's
though.
true. It's like
That's
baseball.
true.
It's like
Baseball
it's
can
like
be the
baseball.
same thing.
Yeah.
Football,
You're there for
football can be the same thing. You can have a 7-0 game and it's boring as shit
And it's
to
like-
watch.
That's true.
It's the
Everybody
same
feels
thing.
like they're Miami Heat fans. You're just there to hang out with your friends. You
Yeah.
don't even care about the sport.
Yeah.
That's how.
The only thing that soccer, the only negative thing I could say about soccer is just the injury thing. If they didn't, I understand the flopping in the NBA, which is rough. It's getting bad.
We talked to Jose, or we talked to Jose about this. He tried to justify it.
But the
It's outlawed now.
No, it's not.
Flopping is
In the NBA.
In the NBA, it's
Yeah.
punishable.
but in
Oh, in
soccer,
soccer, it's
dude,
not, yeah.
it
They are
just
booing-
kills.
It's
the
so
game.
it's so
Yeah,
prevalent that we were sitting there, and these guys are falling down, and they are booing the man on the ground because no one believes the guy is actually hurt.
yeah.
It's that
Like
bad.
no one believes it.
You can literally, if you actually watch, you can see if they fall on the ground, they literally look at the ref holding their whatever is hurt.
Yep.
You know, their leg.
Not
they
even
hurt,
that. Sometimes
they hurt
they'll
their
hold
leg.
like their butt.
Yeah, they hurt their. Say they hurt their leg. They'll literally look at the ref. They don't get the call. They stand right up and they run away.
What did you see
what?
the highlight
Come on,
of the guy going down in the box?
Yes.
And holding his leg and
Yes.
writhing in pain, and then his team scored and he got up and celebrated.
Yeah. Well,
Dude.
no, not even that. Like,
Yeah, and Barstool's like, what a quick recovery.
we watched the one, like, the guys laying on the ground last night. The guys laying, and the game is going on.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, dude, just get
He gets up. He
Yeah.
gets up. He goes to the sideline. He runs right back in.
Right
He's
back
good.
in.
It's like, dude, you could. The amount of time that you're spending on the ground, you could probably help your team if you
Yeah.
would just fucking stand up and
Yeah.
help your team on offense.
Yeah.
As they're making a fucking 2-on-3 break, stand up and make
Yeah.
it a 3-on-3 break.
But I'll tell you what that game was.
Help him out a
the
little
game
bit.
was amazing.
Oh,
honestly.
it's
the game was, that was his first game
fantastic.
that he got to go
Honestly
to, first soccer game, right?
Yep.
That was
You
the
got to
first
go
soccer
to-
team. Well, it was the first soccer
That you
team
got to enjoy and not work.
that I could actually watch and enjoy. Yeah, it
And
was good.
we were next to the supporter section. The supporter section for Orlando City is great. Like, they are awesome. And
And it helped that they were playing Atlanta, who was their rival. So it was a good. It was a
and
good
the whole game, the whole match, they were playing from behind. Like, Atlanta scores a minute in, and you're like, here we
And that was after I literally said right before kickoff, I was like, every goal we need to finish our beer no matter where. They literally scored a minute in. They scored in 30 seconds. And we all look at each other and we're like, oh God.
God.
We're done.
Milk was a horrible choice. like
We looked at each other. All of our beers are complete. We probably took one sip and we're like, oh shit.
God damn
That's
it.
good.
I was like, oh, that might have been a bad idea.
Yeah, dude, it was sick though. Like, it was hot as shit though.
Yeah.
But no, it was Orlando. See, that stadium is like.
Oh,
when-
it's.
I'll say
perfect,
this:
man.
when
It's a
Orlando
good stadium.
sports are like, when Orlando teams are good, Orlando sports is great. Like, the Amway is dope. Like,
Yeah.
it's packed. Orlando City Stadium is sick. It's
Yeah.
packed. You just need that. Like, the whole COVID thing like ruined like the environment of professional sports.
It really did. Yeah.
And so coming back,
it's coming back.
Like, I'm hoping. Like, we went to that game and it was like what, sporadic? It was like 50% capacity or whatever.
It was about 25. We had about 4,000
25.
people in there. Yeah.
And so, like, imagine
Yeah,
going, like,
that's rough.
opening, like, if you can get back to full,
Yeah.
like, to start the season, like, it's just, like, a good team, a good,
Yeah.
young, exciting team. It's
Yep.
like, my very first game, I think we played, it was a playoff game at the old Amway. And I was like, this thing is sweet. I was like, this is,
Oh yeah. That was 2009. 2009
with
time.
Dwight. It was like Dwight, they beat
that was-
Boston in the playoffs.
That was 2008-9 then. Yeah. Those were fun times.
That was
Huge games, meaningful games. That's what we're
They
going.
actually matter.
We need those back in Orlando for sure.
Yep.
I can't wait, man.
Well,
I really hope this is the year that they can.
I just want, man, you just want sports
Just make
to
a
be
name
good
for
in this-
yourself,
You just want
man.
sports to be
Yep.
good in the city because no matter whether you love or hate it, it brings people together. Like,
Yep.
it
It does,
brings
man.
the city.
Well,
That's
have you been in downtown Orlando recently?
We went like a month ago. It's not something I.
We went to Hamburger Mary's recently, right?
Well, we were yesterday. We were
Yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday we went there.
It's pretty sad when you see Church Street in the state it's in right
It
now.
is,
Yeah.
man. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's gross. Man.
Well,
it's
I will
bad.
say this though. It has.
Well, you had the old Graffiti Junction
Yep.
closed down.
Yep.
You had the Jersey Mike's right around the corner.
You had
closed down.
Ceviche closed down.
Ceviche
No,
closed
Jersey
down.
Mike's.
Jersey
is
Mike's
still
is
open.
open.
Not around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
corner one is.
On that main street.
Yeah. On
Church?
Oh no.
No, that's a
It's
different
That's
spot.
no,
Johnny's.
it's right off of church. It's right next to Harry Buffalo's.
Oh, it is.
It is. Yeah. There's.
Yeah, we're
I
coming.
just went there at the gold. Like
When he was at the Gold Cup.
Oh man,
I went there for lunch. Yeah,
I
that's
skipped,
open.
I skipped there and went to Bento. I really would have liked
that taco place. What's that? Oh, what the fuck is that taco place called?
Tin and Taco.
Tin and Taco. That's
Tin
it.
Taco's pretty money.
But I'll say
Yeah,
this.
that's
I will
so-
say, unfortunately, yes, Orlando's probably like not good right now, but it has definitely opened up all these little cities outside of it.
Yeah.
Winter Garden.
It's beautiful, man.
I like going over to
There's-
Mills. Mills
there's
is
so
still
many good
Mills
spots.
is still popping.
Yep.
I think Mills is great. Thornton Park, we haven't gone over there, but Tabby and I drove over there last night after
Yeah.
the game because there was like road construction. So Thornton Park in the Milk District was
Yeah.
still looking good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brewery scene's really started
brewery
to
scene
blossom.
is starting to pop. If anything, we over there on where we go on Lake Apopka. What's that little the open container?
Box.
Is that Lake Apopka?
Yeah. No.
What's the little city that has an open container that's like 35 minutes?
Mount
You know
Dora.
it. Mount
Mount
Dora.
Dora.
Mount
Yeah.
Dora's a
Mount
beautiful
Dora
place.
is
Beautiful place.
awesome.
It's
Right
a
on the
good
water
spot,
there.
man.
Yeah.
That's a good.
It's great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Middle of nowhere, but
But I
It's
think
very,
I
very-
think unfortunately, like it opened up to like everything being like everybody building their own little cities and communities. And if you go there, like it's a little hubs, which is like
That's a really cool thing about this area is
Yeah.
that they have.
Winter
this.
Garden
If they
is
didn't
awesome.
have those little
Yeah.
towns outside of Orlando, it would be awful.
garbage. So.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, man.
Eddie, thank
That
you.
was
it.
that was a fun time, man. That was good. Thanks for
that
coming.
Was good. I'm sorry to. I feel like I dominated a little bit. I talked a lot.
Oh, dude,
Too much.
that's what it's all about.
That's
That's
what
what
the
the
guest-
guest
yeah,
is all
guest
about.
is
We
for.
want to
Yeah.
we want to know about you more
Okay.
than the fans want
Yeah,
to
I'd
know
rather
about
know.
us.
Well,
Yeah, anytime that I don't.
thank you
talk-
guys for having me, and I
Yep.
appreciate your 36 viewers for watching this.
Wait, I tell you what.
36,000 viewers.
Hey,
Okay?
here's what's gonna
Relax.
happen. Like they're gonna start small, but then when we pop, we're gonna what we said one of these videos.
Well,
Yeah.
once,
It's
we
gonna have
start,
a one
once we
time.
start doing that,
Go viral.
One,
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
some tips.
yeah.
We have some producer tips.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we start getting fancy,
this could be our future producer right here.
yeah, it could be.
Could be.
He's not leaving the magic.
see.
We
No.
can't afford him, but he's.
It's I'm about to say only when it turns into a paid gig is when I'll jump in.
Yeah, we'll give you about $4.
But I will say I'll tell you what. With it being a weekend, now we'll just clean up, and what's the rest of the day hold?
Nothing.
Whatever happens, happens.
On the couch watching reenactments
Baby
of
shark.
really terrible,
Yeah.
traumatic emergency
Oh
room
my-
visits.
You know what? That's a whole.
and I don't think I'm wearing pants the rest of the day.
That's
I don't
a whole
know if you
nother
can see. I don't
episode.
have pants on now, but
Oh, Jesus.
we got. I think we green screened that one, so we're good.
Yeah,
to go.
we're
All
done with that.
All right.
All right, Eddie.
Number 12.
Peace.
hey,
Ow!
Stack and Stout. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and all of our other social
Like and
channels.
subscribe. We don't
YouTube,
have an
Like,
Instagram.
subscribe.
YouTube, Facebook.
YouTube.
We don't have an Instagram. We don't have a Twitter.
Click
but
and like our
and follow anyway.
like and follow. Click our buttons right here below, over here.
Peace.
Out.